Okay, so let's look at this chart again. It's the euro dollar on the 240 and daily time frames. We already looked at this chart a couple of times, so I wanted to get back to it because it's getting familiar now, and it's easier for us to just analyze this through. So the first thing on the V formations, one thing that everyone needs to realize that, and this is quite common in most of the students, that as soon as they start to learn about V formation, there's a lot of students that see V formations everywhere. Okay, this is normal. This is completely normal. Don't feel an outsider because of this, because this is normal. So we were looking at these breaches here. So this breach here, this breach here. These are all breaches, and we were looking at this one, but this one is more because of the left side, not because of this area. So this here is a breach, but these breaches are super fast. Okay, you can't really gauge the momentum inside these V formations. Okay, and you can even see from the 240, you can't really gauge anything. Okay, but even without going to the 240, you can see that these breaches here, they are super fast. Even though they are breaches, because you have like 1, 2, 3, 4 candles stopping, and the fourth candle is the one that breaks. Okay, even though it passes some time here, the pullback is super slow. It's super shallow, and you can't really gauge anything inside your trading time frame. So you should ignore these ones, because the problem with these ones is that they are so fast that you will have like the pushes will do immediately a V formation. Okay, this pushes V formation, pushes V formation. Okay, all of these are V formations. Okay, can you see? They are all V formations. But the seller is so strong that the buyer can't really come in. Immediately the seller comes in, makes a V formation and breaches below. Okay, so a V formation a breach is also some kind of V formation. Okay, so if you are seeing a breach as a V formation, it is a V formation. Okay, it is. So don't feel weird because you're looking at a breach and looking at the V formation, because it is. The thing is, how can you trade it? And what we are looking for is V formations in the right spots for us to trade, and we need to understand what it means, that V formation. Okay, so we ignore this kind of areas here because they are so small, and we should be looking at some proper pullbacks. Okay, so this one here is a proper pullback. And you can even see this from the big boy time frame, because this pullback, look at where it goes. Okay, all the way to the breach line, and even challenges the guy who started. Okay, you can see here, and you can see in the big boy time frame, you can see the same thing. Okay, this is the kind of pullback that you want to see. Okay, now from this pullback, I want you to pause the video and try to think about this. Where is the buyer resting 100% or more, and where is the V formation? Okay, because they are slightly different. Okay, they are not exactly the same thing. You need to understand where are the breaks from this time frame, and where is the guy who started that last push. You need to realize all of this before you know where is the V formation, or where is the 100% rest, because it's not the same thing. Okay, most of the times it's not the same thing, and they have different analysis, and they have different approaches to trade them. So just pause the video and think about this. Okay, so if you were looking at this at this area here, you could actually see also a V formation here, right? For the buy side, it's also a V, because it takes out that guy from this time frame, because this is a breach from this time frame. Okay, so that's also a V, and that's what makes this pullback go so deep. Okay, because these buyers, when they take out that guy, they get hope that this is going to continue. Okay, so let's continue to analyze this. So gauging momentum, rubber band man goes up, pauses a bit. Okay, goes up, pauses, pauses, goes up, boom. And when it comes down, it doesn't stop. Okay? And this is really important because after we breach this area here, we never breached above. Okay? Like a real breach, we didn't add in this area. All of this is a faker for the big boy. And you can see from here that this is all a faker, right? So after that point, everything is fake. So we are operating with the guy who started here, okay, from this time frame. So the only V we can have is this one from here till here. The problem is that it doesn't stop. It goes all the way down there. Okay, because this seller is super strong. It continues to be strong because look at this sell, right? So from this point, our V formation would have to be huge. Okay, so I'll mark this up from here to here and from here down here. This is the V formation. So we couldn't trade this. So if we can't trade this, how can we approach this area? So for us to approach this area, we could go with the rubber band man. Okay, went up, paused, went up, paused, went up, didn't really break, paused, break here. Okay, as like 1, 2, 3, fourth candle crashes down. Okay, so this is your rest. This is also a V, but this V is a tiny detail. Okay, this V is not the guy who started that gets taken out. Okay, this is not the big V that Naveen was teaching you this in this week, because this one is a tiny detail. How is this tiny detail important and where is he important? Okay, so for this, you need to have an area of importance, okay? An area that is relevant for you. And the areas is all of these areas near the breach line and the guy who started, okay? All of this area here is an area of interest. So if you see some kind of rest with your big boy showing some kind of aggression, you can eventually trade that. Okay, so this here can eventually be a trade when this buyer rests and shows you, okay, I'm dead. I can't really go further without this seller knocking me down. Okay, at this point, you know, okay, this seller is back and is back aggressive. Okay, you can eventually trade this from this perspective, but not from the V, because the V is nowhere to be found. Okay, the V is the big one, is not the small one. This small one is the rubber band man resting. Okay, you can name it a V if you want, but you need to have this in mind. Okay, then we can look at this one. We also looked at this one earlier. Okay, this breach here, it was a buy breach. So how would you look at this area? Okay, so we breached above. How would you look at this? Do you have a complete V formation? Do you have a lopsided V? Do you have 100% rest from the rubber band man? How would you approach this area? Just pause the video and think about this for a moment. Okay, so in this area, you do the same thing. The small breaks below. Okay, it starts to pull back here. It breaks below. But after this break, it doesn't have anything else. Okay, there's no more pushes below. And the other push is this one that you see on the right. And this is a bigger boy coming in. Okay, this is a huge collapse. So after this is the guy who started. After this, you don't have anything going lower. Now we can question here, is this a V? Because even though it gets knocked down every time with these weeks, look at this, like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. See, there's a 4th week here, and every time it gets knocked down. So it challenges, but it gets knocked down. So we need to put a question mark here to know, is this a real V? Because it doesn't take out that guy. It challenges, but it gets knocked down immediately. with a wick on top. So in these cases, what we can do is, since it's almost a challenge at that area, we can eventually trade this as a V. Okay, but for this V, we need to be sure that the seller is dead. And the problem in these tests is that the seller doesn't really show you that it's dead. Okay, because every time it picks up with strength. Now, the only way to see this is the rubber band man is exhausted every time. Because if we were looking at this, this is a big rest, then it pushes again, big rest. Okay, this one is a full rest, actually. The second one is a full rest from the seller, but the buyer doesn't go, and the seller can't really go further. Okay, and at this point, when it starts holding and holding and holding, eventually you can enter this. But this is a risky buy. Okay, this is not the best buy here because you can't really see that rest, 100% rest from the seller, because this last push is super aggressive. Okay, and if you look at this candle here, when it was all red, it would be scary. Okay. So I hope you like these examples. We will have more on V formations. This is what you need to realize on V formations and the 100% rest. I hope you like it. Cheers.